My name is Pisant Balyozyan.
And my name is Carla Abrahamian.
We are happy to introduce you to the InnovatEd Talks, part of AGBU Germany's Education Stream initiative. Our Armenian General Benevolent Union's German chapter was established in 2020. As an organization, we are involved in different aspects from culture, humanitarian aid, and education, and the Education Stream is a specialized group of active individuals from different educational backgrounds bringing forward innovative and engaging topics. These topics are beneficial for the public.
Welcome to InnovatEd Talks. We will be hosting experts in the education field from leading global organizations, and we would like to discuss innovative education and career orientation topics that would address current opportunities and challenges in education globally.
You can follow us on our social media network on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, found in the description below. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Pisant Balyozyan.
And I am Dr. Carla Abrahamian. Welcome to InnovatEd Talks by AGBU Germany.
Today, we have a very special guest. We're honored to have Dr. Yervant Zorian. Dr. Zorian, you're the Chief Architect of Synopsys, the President of Synopsys Armenia, a global AGBU board member, the founder and the President of AGBU Silicon Valley chapter. You're also the founder of Armenian Virtual College, AVC. You have a huge technical background, a PhD in electrical engineering from McGill, an MBA from UPenn.
And apart from your position titles, you are the author of more than 450 scientific publications, around 45 patents, and 5 books. You are also the recipient of the prestigious IEEE Industrial Pioneering Award and several other IEEE awards. You are also the recipient of the Republic of Armenia's National Medal of Science, and the list goes on.
Dr. Zorian, you have been described as an innovator, leader, pioneer with lasting impact on the community. Happy that you're here with us today.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. My great pleasure. I'm looking forward to this.
Dr. Zorian, let us start to talk about semiconductor manufacturing, your career. So your main area of focus has been semiconductors, chips, in other words, the brain of computers. What motivated you to go into the field of computers, electrical engineering, and why semiconductors specifically?
Very good question. I have to step back and try to remember history. So from my childhood, engineering was a passion for me. So I've come from a family of engineers. For me, being in engineering was a natural given. I didn't think about it twice. But to be in electrical engineering, to be in computers, was something that we have decided far later, along with my father, when I finished high school. As I finished high school, I had interest in other things. I had interest in becoming architect, maybe civil engineer. But at the time, computers were coming up. Microprocessors were new, and computing was fascinating. The ability to think. So I did some work already during my but high school years on that. And I was very interested in venturing into computers in my studies. Now, semiconductors came afterwards. As I learned that the core of semiconductors, of electronic systems, are the chips. So I decided to invest my time, my efforts in the chips domain. And that's why I did my graduate work. My PhD was in the health of chips. And I continued in the same domain afterwards as well.
So now the semiconductor industry is estimated to be around half a $1 trillion industry, and it's expected to double in the upcoming 5 years. And they're everywhere. They're integrated in our everyday lives, from phones, from cars, different applications. So it's a booming industry, it's a growing industry. And I would like to ask you about what you are doing currently within Synopsys. How is it addressing the upcoming challenges of semiconductor manufacturing, maybe coming from your background in the self-repairing technology that you have invented?
Yes. So you're absolutely true. So chips are the backbone of all electronic systems, whether large or small. Whether we're talking about the planes, the factories, that is automation factories, or cars, or small IoTs. What's happening, and you're seeing, it's based on needs. So semiconductor industry is reactive to the needs of the public at large. We collectively as users, we like to have more and more intelligent systems. We like to have more and more systems that we can depend on, that can reduce our trivial efforts and increase our work essence on more advanced stuff, not only work, but our daily life, our family life, our entertainment. Everything can be much more intelligent to give us more time, more ability, more comfort, and concentration on things that are more complex. Now, to do that, semiconductor industry in the past 50 years has been growing very fast, exponentially. As you know, doubling the speed, shrinking the size, but due to this same reason, due to the need that is behind. And where they have reached today with hundreds of billions of transistors on chip are allowing us to do lots of interesting things. AI. AI is not new. AI has been there 50 years ago. But AI was not accelerated because the chips were not fast enough. We were able to do very shallow learning, 2-3 rows of interconnect networks that can help us do it. But now we can do deep learning. Since 2014, deep learning is the base, and we keep increasing and increasing hundreds and hundreds of layers that allow us to do much more, much bigger decisions and much faster decisions. So AI prominence in our products is definitely there. So that's why the car is becoming more intelligent. You can do self-driving, drones can do more interesting things. Your handheld equipments can do a lot because AI inference is in all of those. So one of the factors that I see that will be with us for a long time is the AI itself. The other one we already mentioned happens to be the silicon in every equipment, big and small, up to your pen, your glasses, your shoes will be intelligent. So that is the intelligence prominence, if you want, by having semiconductors, by having chips in them. Now, the third factor that I would see that is becoming also quite interesting in our field is the software configure, the software driven products. Meaning, while you buy your product as a piece of hardware, the software can come and can configure it, can change it, can update it. Your cars today are updated by software. Your phone is updated by software constantly. Your laptop is. So the software is coming and sitting on top of your hardware and doing the job. Now, why is that happening? Is because our systems, our hardware systems are programmable. They are able to meet the needs, and our processing power in the chips are again configurable. And we are able to process what is necessary by configuring them through the software. So I see that's continuing as it is. Now, you asked me about my particular expertise and how it helps us. My particular expertise from my graduate days were in the area of the health of the silicon. I've done my PhD on self-testing of the chips. Self-testing was important at the time. Still is, because you cannot test things from outside. They're so complex that you have to test from inside out. Every single unit inside the chip has to be self-testing. From there, I went forward. We did the self-repairing, as you mentioned. For self-test was not sufficient. We had to do self-repair. Then added correctedness, then added security, hyper-security to all the things that are around that. Then we added safety. Again, it's a hyper solution. We could say as well for cars or other mission critical equipment. And finally, reliability. Reliability is the fact that you can take care of your chip throughout its life cycle, not only upon the quality when you manufacture it, but rather you look at it during the lifetime, which gets degraded. And aging comes into effect. So for aging and degradation, need to keep monitoring, need to keep fixing, and the self-repair comes to picture there as well, but not only for manufacturing as we used to do, but throughout the life cycle. We call this silicon life cycle management. That is good. Managing the lifetime of the silicon, making it always correct, making it always at the right speed, right functionality, and so on, for whatever the lifetime is of that silicon. If it's your mobile equipment in your hand, it may be 2-3 years life. If it's your car, probably 10 years of life. If it's a plane, it is far longer. But you need to know what's the length of that life and be able to maintain the health of the semiconductors throughout that lifetime. And AI chips are among those as well, because AI chips are heavily loaded with workflows. So they're computing all the time. Imagine if you are in a data center. 24/7, you are computing with heavy load, and you need to maintain that lifetime health. The aging should not impact it. Therefore, the technologies that we invent and our contributions from Synopsys, not only this, but we do many other things, but my part of it is the health of those chips.
Yeah, nowadays there are also lots of plans to establish factories of semiconductors in the Western world, also due to the importance in the several industries we have. We're talking about tens of billions of dollars for each of the factories that are being established. And for that, there are companies that are specialized in it. And Synopsys is definitely involved in many of the projects, I would say. And for that, it's definitely a huge topic and is going to grow and grow.
Yeah. But I mean, this manufacturing chips is a very important thing, but also designing the chips. Synopsys is more involved in the design aspect to provide all the software tools and building blocks to design the chips, but they feed into the manufacturing. Both were quite global. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, all our resources were distributed everywhere for our users, the chip companies, chip design companies, Qualcomms of the world, the NVIDIAs of the world. Otherwise, they're doing their design all over the world. Now, what is more recent, exactly as you say, we're trying to see how we can create sovereignty of chips, and that's called the CHIP Act. The CHIPS Act are happening in the US, in Japan, in Europe, elsewhere, to create sovereignty of chips in a given country, to have the design and the manufacturing in one place so that there's less dependency. That globalization is a nice thing, but creates dependencies. Now we're trying to reduce that dependency and create islands of sovereignty.
This is also very similar in my industry, the solar photovoltaics industry, where similar talks are being done to create technological sovereignty. And also like the Inflation Reduction Act and the Repower Europe, several initiatives are being placed to be able to reshore manufacturing in the Western world.
Yes.
So it's the same direction we're going towards.
Absolutely. That's the important thing. And for that, actually, of course, you need the factories, but you need the workforce. Having a factory without workforce, also designers, you need to have lots of chip designers. So there'll be need for hundreds of thousands of chip designers in the US, in Canada, in Europe, and so on. So now we are in the process of working on preparing the workforce to be able to be sophisticated enough to design those most complex chips and make them manufactured.
And speaking of countries, you actually saw the growth potential in Armenia, and your contributions in the IT sector in Armenia date back to early days after the country's independence in 1991. And you were actually dedicated to foster the technological advancement in Armenia. And now we have tech giants such as Synopsys that are offering cutting-edge tech services globally from Armenia. So what would you say, in your opinion, that were the challenges that you overcame in the path of developing this ecosystem in the country?
Yes. Gladly, we had two very good things. On one hand, Armenia was advancing technology even during Soviet time, from a Soviet perspective, because the government at that time was investing in different republics, different domains of expertise, right? In some places it was oil, some place was tourism. In the case of Armenia, was technology. So computing and communication was an important component that was developed in terms of education, research, and light manufacturing, in the sense that the prototyping was done in Armenia. The main factories were in Russia. Now, so that was one good thing. The second good thing is that in 91, when we became independent, we had access to this. Meanwhile, we knew about it, but we were not able to see it. We were not able to talk to our peers there. I was in Bell Laboratories at that time. I was very lucky to be able to create the first bridge with Armenia, with scientists or technologists who were in my field. So at that time, we had a certain workforce, not too large, few thousand people only, who were involved in the governmental organizations at that time, well prepared, well educated, good researchers, good prototyping. However, as we started learning about them, we saw the potential. We saw the fact that we are able to create research labs, we're able to create startup activities from diaspora to have R&D solutions over there. So the first decade was more bringing in diaspora companies or the companies created by diaspora Armenians to Armenia. So this is one of the best collaborative efforts if you look at diaspora Armenia collaboration in certain industry sector. So in this sector, we work closely, we were able to get enough resources and so on. And then in the second decade, we brought in, as you said, multinationals. This was one of the first to come. Now we have few others who still are the largest in Armenia, but the multinationals are doing an excellent job because they bring the business culture as well. So it's not only the scientific part, which we did in the first decade. The second decade brought us this business culture of big companies, how they operate, and so on. Challenges, you asked for it. There are challenges. And one of the major challenges today is the resources, again, the workforce aspect. Because we're growing fast, the production of new engineers is limited. Armenia being a small country, the universities have lack of capacity to generate many talents. So we had to create partnerships with universities. Gladly, with our company, we did that long ago. We started 15 or more years ago to create partnership, first with one university, second one. Now we have five partner universities. We do joint degrees. So we prepare the curriculum, we teach together, we provide all the software tools, the computational power, resources. So it's very good because we can create a good set of talents that can be very productive from day one. And we hire some percentage of them, not all of them, because we like to also contribute to the rest of the companies in our field to hire from. So that is the biggest challenge, I would say. There are other smaller challenges as well, but the technology sector has been evolving in Armenia. My recent data is that we do have now from few thousands to 40,000 talents that work in our area, which is quite a large chunk, if you think of it. In terms of number of companies, and when there were a few companies, 3 companies initially, now we have 8,000 companies in Armenia. A large number of them, 3/4 of them are small companies of 1 or 2 people doing consulting work on the outside, but real companies, we have a big chunk of them that are very productive, but we need to expand. So there is now a growth plan that we are working on, along with the government. The government now is willing to put more an investment in a strategy to grow this field, because this field grew from 1% GDP. Today we have 6.5% of Armenia's GDP is in the technology sector. But we'd like to grow much faster. For the next 7 years, we'd like to go up to 140,000 people working in this domain. And also, we would like to expand the fields. So in our field of microelectronics, we are quite strong, but we would like to replicate that in 4 other strategic domains as well. So we have an advisory council to the government that I am lucky to serve on. We are working on multiple fields in addition to see what we should do in the biotech domain, what we should do in the AI domain, what we should do in the robotics domain as strategic fields, from education to research to industry, local companies, foreign companies, and so on. So there's lots of good work going on. So I think that will be quite helpful on the long run to expand our work.
So are there like key figures you are targeting in terms of quantity and quality? You have mentioned in a previous interview that you need different types of levels of employees or technical experts. The highest expertise being R&D engineers and scientists, and then engineers as well as technicians working in the field. Are you discussing this type of advancements, and how do you see the 10-year roadmap in the upcoming years in terms of quantity as well as quality? of the type of employees.
Yes. So quantity-wise, as I mentioned, we would like to go from 40 to 140K people in Armenia, talents working. But the fields that I mentioned and the kind of work that we need to do are more on the high end. So what we need to is not the low end technicians that will help us if we had manufacturers, maybe if we had services, perhaps. But our work is more in doing high end research and development. That's the value add. These are the well paid jobs, and these are the jobs that have an impact internationally. So being competitive internationally is important. The field that I mentioned, whether it's AI, robotics, or microelectronics, in those fields, we need to have global competitiveness. We cannot be just a small local player. And for that, we need top R&D to be done. So qualitatively, I think we need to work on the quality, again, with universities, with the research institutions, and so on, and particularly with diaspora. Diaspora plays a key role in this. And, in technology, there are no boundaries. You can bring your expertise easily to carry products or respect the official transportations and so on. So expertise in technology are easily expandable. And we're hoping that diasporas will also be further engaged in the future steps.
Can we say that Dr. Yervant Zorian is optimistic about the technology future of Armenia?
I am, Yervant, yes. Yes, I am. I have been all along since the 90s, and I still see lots of potential for growth in Armenia. It's one of
because
the best.
We are optimistic as well.
Yeah.
We are optimistic as well.
That's wonderful.
For sure, if there are many people such as yourself betting on the growth of Armenia, we will see definitely a big change.
Thanks. Yes.
Maybe we can move on also to AGBU, which is uniting the three of us here. So we've all inherited the AGBU legacy from our families who were involved in different movements and in different countries as well. And when we talk about you, you have a very long history in serving the Armenian community through this organization, and probably growing up seeing your parents and grandparents volunteering within AGBU, and you are currently an AGBU board member and the founder of the Silicon Valley chapter in the US. Can you tell us a little bit about your special relationships with AGBU on both a professional level and on a personal level?
Sure. So maybe stepping back one step, looking at AGBU itself. AGBU is this Armenian organization that is truly national. It serves the nation. It serves the diaspora. It serves Armenia. It serves this group, that group, that. So it covers the entirety of Armenians. It's not dedicated to any island of Armenians. In various, in specialties, in religious sects, in this or that. So AGBU is meant for the entire nation. I think that has indirectly, without knowing it, influenced me in my thinking, because with that, we are ready to contribute both ways, to learn and to give back. I learned in AGBU schools a lot, so my scientific basis comes from AGBU schools, where I learned my first math and physics and so on, and I build on it with my specialty as I move forward. But at the same time, as I was learning those technical skills, I also learned from AGBU the non-technical skills, soft skills we call that. Soft skills being teamwork, soft skills being communication, soft skills. So you can think of many soft skills where you learn how to do it, organization of things, right? So when you work with committees, when you work with peers, when you camp with them, so these are all very, very valuable learnings that you wouldn't know unless you see others who have not gone through it. When you see the difference, when you go to your first conference and see others are so scared of talking to public, but then you have done it in your agum so many times before. So these are natural things that you learn, technical and soft skills. So AGBU for me, it's a two-way. You get something from AGBU and you give back. You give back without expecting return. So that's the nice thing about AGBU as well. unlike other kinds of organizations where something may be expected in return, with HBU, you just give. And you have the variety of things that you can do. You can give your resources, you can give your talent, your expertise, you can give your time, you can give your funds, your extra money. So you can do various things. But it's a one-way giving, and it gives you pleasure because as you do it, you see the results. On my end, I was able to have the opportunity to do certain things here in Silicon Valley through my childhood, actually, from my student days, student association of HB, to today on the board in various projects that we run. But they're all a way of going back to your communities and think of it as a nation, not a sect, not a group, not a political party. It's the entirety of the nation that you serve.
We also often talk about an AGBU mindset, working on your personal career, excelling in your personal career to be able to serve the nation in a much better way. So absolutely. I think this is also something that all AGBU members share. They share this type of vision. And that's why we are also very proud to be a part of AGBU Germany, a young chapter that is also working on that.
That is wonderful. And I congratulate you again. It's a young chapter, it's a dynamic chapter, and you're expected to do a lot more in the coming years. So I congratulate you and look forward to that.
Thank you. So actually your grandfather, after which you were named in 1931, he founded the AGBU Armenian Youth Association that advocates basically for the culture and education and professional training among the Armenian youth. And 78 years later, you established the Armenia Virtual College. And this is a topic highly relevant to us in the Career and Education Department. So this program at the AVC offers Armenian language courses in both dialects, in Eastern and Western Armenian. And it also includes Armenian literature, history, art, and all transmitted digitally. So, and you have reached already 40,000 e-learners and have created this kind of hybrid education program in 66 schools. So maybe you can tell us your initial motivation and how did this start? And
yes, that's a very good point. So I'll make a particular comment and a general comment. My general comment is that education is something very important, as you also agree, that we have to prepare ourselves and prepare our generations around us to be well educated. And HBU has been in this game for a very long time. So I myself have, as I mentioned, have benefited from the education that HBU gave me. But at some point, I felt that the luck that I had by being able to be educated in HBU schools, and not only in terms of learning, but rather in terms of also connecting with others. For me, the school is not just yourself. The school is you and your surroundings. It's your peers, your teachers. So it's like a neural network that you build with your knowledge increasing and your connections increasing, building, being healthy, and so on. So HBU schools gave us that. Schools do that in a certain way. However, when it came to my next generation, to my immediate kids, I noticed that I'm not able to give them that because in Silicon Valley, we did not have Armenian schools. And giving them the possibility of learning the language, the history, the culture, and so on in a formal way. Of course, at home we can always do. We could have done it only through an institution. And ABC came to help us with that. So being in Silicon Valley, we knew 20 years ago about e-tech, educational technologies. So in education, there's a lot, and it's evolving. It evolves all the time. But even 20 years ago, we already have. And by that, I'm not meaning remote teaching, using Zoom to talk to somebody. That's not e-learning. That's not education technologies. That is simply doing distance learning. In e-learning, you use the computing power. You use the dynamism. You use the multimedia aspects and multi-party learning. So it's not one-on-one as well. It is your classrooms where you have your peers, you collaborate with them, your on-site, online instructors, and so on. And the computer is teaching you by using all the dynamics. So ABC was built on that. So we used the modern technologies of the day, and we created this nice entity 15 years ago. we opened to the public, and then we started getting more and more. Now, over time, we evolved. We evolved on the technical side because we had new technologies coming in that we adopted. We evolved from our presence worldwide, our coverage with that. Now we are in 132 countries. So lots of e-learners in different places. So we expanded it geographically as well. Just last week, I was passing by Sao Paulo. I had the opportunity to see for the first time Armenian language teaching via Portuguese. It's a new program that we adopted with the AGBU chapter in Sao Paulo. So now we have our courses being taught via Portuguese as well. Now expanding. So we kept expanding also in Armenia, while initially teaching language and history and so on was meant for the diaspora because we lacked that, because only 3 or 4% of our kids can go to Armenian schools. The rest do not have it. So mainly we went for diaspora initially, but then we found out that there are lots of things that can be done in Armenia as well. And now we're continuing there too. We started 5-6 years ago by working with the Chess Academy to create chess courses for Armenia also, because chess became mandatory in Armenian schools at that time from the 2nd to the 5th grade, and there were not enough teachers. So Chess Academy approached us, said, can we do this in a dynamic way, the computer teaching and so on, and we did it. So we have very nice courses, 4 layers of courses and so on that teach chess with partnership with the Chess Academy. And we penetrated the Armenian schools by doing that. But we did not stop there. So as we learned what else is needed in Armenian schools, then we started doing some STEM-oriented education. Recently, we expanded to AI. So, artificial intelligence is very important. We use that in our products. We use that in our education. Universities have education and research of AI, but high schools don't. I noticed that our high schools here in Silicon Valley, they teach AI from early age, from 10th grade and so on. So with ABC, by collaborating with several other partners, with Synopsys included, we are able to establish a 3-year program for AI. 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th. And when you finish your high school, you already know the basis of AI, or you some programming, create some projects, and so on. This year we have 6 schools that are teaching those AI courses. They're all virtual, so they're all, again, dynamic, and they show you all the nice examples. And now we're doing the project demos of our students in AI. So it's just to show that you can, we need to expand what we do. Again, in this neural network, to build in lots of e-learners with connections with each other and expand their knowledge as we move forward.
At which classes exactly they are taught? Is it in high school or middle school?
In high school. 10th, 11th, and 12th grade are those high school, the last 3 years of the high school. We're doing that. It's quite effective. So the 12th, the third one is in preparation. The first 2 are available already. The first one, we already gave it in a couple of schools, and we started last year, first time in Artsakh. So Artsakh was still ours at that time, always is, but it was populated. And we did 2 schools in Artsakh, and they graduated. The pilot project was there with 10th grade students. Now we are continuing to expand further with the Artsakhi communities in Armenia. Of course, with other schools in Gyumri, in Yervant, so.
Well, it's very impressive that 15 years of serving e-learning platforms and still continuing to do so. I remember when AVC started, my mother came to me and showed me some flyers about AVC. And I think back then, those were CDs and DVDs that you used to work on and share to the public. And that's how I also know the name Dr. Yervant Zorian. And it's impressive that this work is still continuing. Can you talk a bit about the partnerships of AVC in particular? What is the partnership that you're currently working on the most in? What institutions are you working with apart from Synopsys?
Yes, we do have partnerships in various aspects. So on one hand, we have, as I mentioned in the case of AI, the Synopsys partnership and the organization that has all the IT companies gathered together is the one that is also helping us in the preparation of the courses, disseminating them partnership with the Ministry of Education to disseminate them properly is important. I mentioned the partnership with the Chess Academy for the chess side of it. We also are partnering with different organizations and universities now with a new course that we have on scenario-based planning. After the war, we noticed that sometimes we are reactive instead of being proactive in planning and strategizing and knowing what are our options in advance and preparing for them. So what we did is we created this course with several experts. Dr. Kabayan is one of them who has served in the US, in Washington, in that specialty for over 25 years, to look at the different scenarios, to predict those scenarios and to prepare for them in advance. So that's called scenario-based planning. So we work with experts, professors from Texas, and we have already started offering this to different cohorts. With the cohort of the technology company CEOs that needed to know how to do this kind of scenario-based planning. Currently, we have an ongoing cohort from the government. So the Prime Minister's office helped identify individuals in different ministries that we benefit from such a course. So it's all virtual again, and we're doing it. Individuals can learn and then connect with each other, and we have joint projects. So we do have a number of such cases. This education thing, though, it's not only ABC. If you think of it, we need it everywhere. We need in everything we do. We need education, and we need that connectedness. Maybe two more circles I can mention. One is a research institution that we are spending an effort in, which is APRI Armenia. APRI Armenia is with AGBU's original support in founding it. Now it's an independent organization, non-partisan, very open in terms of its abilities to help in different domains, but also expertise, fellows who are coming from different domains doing their research, and also educating the public, creating awareness with the government, with the different countries as well. So APRI Armenia is again in this education floor, if you want, but more in-depth research. That's really good. Since you asked again about education, I think educating each other is very important as well. For that, we need connectedness. So a different group I'm involved with is the High Connect group, and High Connect is a platform to connect online, to connect Armenians to each other. So there also the connection between people will bring in training, mentoring, helping, and educating at the same time. So I think that can strengthen our little network quite well.
So maybe if we take a step back and talk about the AGBU again, since you were mentioning, so involving different parties, different groups, we know that AGBU is apolitical, and it is in the bylaws. This is how AGBU works. How do you see it, and how far can we go with this definition, seeing the current situation in Armenia and in the diaspora?
Yes. So maybe we have to clarify a little bit the apolitical, what it means. Well, apolitical means that we are not involved in local politics. We're not involved in creating parties among Armenians. Rather, we collaborate with all of them. But we are political in the sense of the national politics. So for the nation itself, we have always been. Boğaziçi Pasha was in the negotiations, as you remember, in the 1920. So we are part of this national level politics when it comes to defending the nation at large, but not the individual groups in Armenia or in other countries. So in that sense, maybe a clarification of what we mean by apolitical. Right? But because of that role that we play, we have been always supporting the government in Armenia. So because we believe in statehood, we believe in the service to the public, whether in the diaspora organizations, but mostly in Armenia, even during communist days, we did have projects, we did have collaborations with the government, independent of the belief of the government itself. And then since then, we had several presidents, several prime ministers changing and so on. And we maintain good relationships, we maintain our support, our help, and we continue to do so because of whoever is in that sphere, in that domain, governing the country. They need to have the support of HP.
Actually, I thought that during this conversation today that you kept mentioning that you have to give back because you were part of AGBU schools and this brought something to your life. I think it's a very humbling thing to say. And I remember also Dr. Arden Pataputian, who is the Nobel Prize winner, who also kept mentioning this at the AGBU schools. And I was also part of it in Syria and in Lebanon, and AGBU scholarship recipient as well as Pizan. So I think it's very nice that you keep coming back to this, and you're a role model to many scientists in Armenia and in a global level. And we hope that our members and the young professionals who are watching this would get inspired. And for that, we would like to ask you, what is your advice to the next generation of professionals who want to support the development of this industry globally?
Thank you. I mean, if we think of next generations, right? What do we want them to do? We want them first to be successful, right? As you both have been and your peers have been. So first you have to invest in yourself. But to be successful, I believe that you have to find your passion, what you would like to be, which profession you have to adopt, and you invest in that particular, right? So finding your passion and developing that passion, that talent, that profession is very important first. But to be successful also, you need not to think of doing that just locally, being the best in my university, being the best in my city. No, we need to be the best globally. So that's something that I learned from my childhood. Because when, as an Armenian, you may go, and we end up in different cities, in different countries throughout our life. Right? So if you are globally competitive, you will be successful elsewhere as well. So first, the passion. Second, globally competitive. And the third is giving back. Giving back to your community, giving back to your country, giving back to the motherland. To Armenia, to our motherland that needs lots of expertise. So if I prepare myself nicely, I think each one of us in our domain, we have something to do. So we have to go and find our peers, collaborate, whether you do companies, whether you put an education program, whether you collaborate on research, whatever you end up doing, that there's a lot that you can take professionally. Each one of you can take his expertise, her expertise, and go there. So once we are successful, we have our passion realized. Once we are globally competitive, then giving back to our nation, I think it's an essential. Make sense?
It's very
Makes sense.
interesting how you put the steps.
Yeah.
So you really mentioned that we have to be the best at what we are doing, and then help in whichever way we could help. So this is the order you're placing it in, and I would also totally agree with this definition and with this structure. Dr. Zorian, thank you very much for this great conversation. And it was a pleasure talking to you. I think our audience will definitely benefit from all our discussions we had. And to our audience, follow us on social media channels. See you in upcoming episodes.
Thank you. Thank you.